What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian from House of Wrestling, and this is my review for the July 29th episode of AEW Collision. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notifications so that way you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on all social media platforms, and the link is in the description of this video on YouTube. So, tonight's AEW Collision, man, each collision keeps getting better and better and better. Um, I tweeted this. Man, Collision and Dynamite feel like two separate wrestling companies under one umbrella. The feel, the vibe, the pacing, it's literally 180 from what we see on Wednesday, and what we see on Wednesday is a complete 180 of what we see on Collision. And I don't think AEW gets enough credit for creating this difference of presentation under one umbrella so well. I know Dynamite has its detractors as far as matches, formats, and of course this past Dynamite was just a lot of things that were just kind of but for the most part, again, Dynamite is a fun show to watch. But man, kudos to AEW for creating such a difference in product and presentation between Collision and Dynamite. And of course, you know the the post show uh, uh, things we see on social media after the show. It's not Dynamite versus Collision and vice versa, but man, I'm loving this. I'm loving the difference. I'm loving the presentation. Man, it's just Collision is becoming that show that at first it was like, I'll check it out. But now it's becoming that Saturday watch. Like, okay, it's Saturday, cool. I'm gonna watch Collision, then whatever else is on, blah blah blah, and I'm gonna do my thing. There we go. But man, this was a fun show tonight. Last week's was fun. I mean, so far Collision has hit every week. Like there hasn't been one thing that hasn't, one week that just didn't feel like, maybe the Collision before Forbidden Door was probably the one that was kind of like, it was cool, but it was like the way it started, and it's just, But so far, like I said, all the AEW Collision shows, the way they've ended has been, man, it's been great for what they've given us. The talent and the story they're telling, and like I said, man, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. There's a few things that I took out of tonight's AEW Collision that I'm going to talk about. And I mean, I got to start off with CM Punk, man. I said last week when it was announced that MJF and Adam Cole would face FTR this week that we could possibly get an MJF CM Punk face off and everything, and it kind of felt like it towards the end, but it didn't happen. But the promo that Punk gave in the ring, and before I get into this, I do got to give AEW credit, and this goes back to what I said earlier in this review. The CM Punk promo started at, I believe, almost like 7:55 Central Time, and it finished like at 8:06 or something like that. Like it was real, like that promo, everything he said against Ricky Starks. Then you had the women, you had the 6-man tag, then you had the women's match. All that was pretty much done by 8:30, and it didn't feel rushed. Like, this is like, I wish they could take this element and give it to Dynamite, because there are certain times where it just feels like it's just rushed. And man, Collision was like, I was freaking out, like, man, all this happened in 30 minutes and it did not feel rushed. And CM Punk again, and he said what he slightly mentioned last week, but he said it louder. He amplified it. I am the real world champion. He pulls out the his AEW world title, and he's like, I'm going to make my claim that this is my title. He spray paints an X on it. It's like, ooh. And he says, this X symbol uh, means straight edge, and I'm better than you. Ooh. Where have we heard that from? MJF. So right away in this promo and everything that he mentioned early on, please check this segment out. This was really great. Ricky Starks comes out and he's like, it's no secret you don't have any friends. You know, that's my title because I beat you, blah, blah, blah. And Ricky's like, you know what? Let's do this next week. So next week we're getting Ricky Starks versus CM Punk for CM Punk's AEW World title. I just want to preface that and everything. And what I find interesting about this is this week during this promo, and usually you have this on Dynamite where Tony Schiavone gets in his ear. Well, Tony Khan has said this, and he relays it on commentary. None of that. So it's like, oh, they're leaning into this. They're leaning into CM Punk didn't lose the title. He mentioned that I didn't lose the title. Nobody beat me for it. I bled for this title. Just went on, and it's like he kind of is right. And I know some people are gonna, chit chat in the discourse over the semantics and everything, but it is, it is kind of true. Nobody beat him or anything like that. He had to surrender the title for obvious reasons. And I think it's really cool when you have this. It's almost like a repeat of what happened the Summer of Punk in 2011 when he came back and Cena was the champ, and Cena I believe it was Rey Mysterio, and Punk came back and they had the face off with the two champions. So I believe that's where we could be going. Are we gonna get CM Punk and MJF at All In, and then we're gonna get CM Punk and Adam Cole at All Out? Is that something that's gonna happen? I don't know. We got to see. But another thing that Punk mentioned in this promo, and this was really interesting, and it's just one of those things. It's hard to really, people can amplify, well, he's taking a shot at this guy and that guy. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I'm not getting into that. But he did mention, am I the first person to mention Wembley Stadium? So it's this promo and little things that he mentioned. It's like we're slowly getting CM Punk turning heel. Like he's slowly turning, yet at the same time, yeah, I love CM Punk. I love CM Punk. And he's slowly dropping hints that, hey, it's about me. It's not about anybody else. It's about me. I'm the champ. You people forgot that I was the champ. You forgot what I've done. And I do think it's going to head in that direction. This is going to be a fun month, or you can say 2 months. We're pretty much close to August at the time of this recording. So August, you're going to have All In. September, you're going to have All Out and Grand Slam. So you're going to have those three events back to back to back. So this is going to be really interesting how they play this out. And CM Punk mentions during this promo while he's talking to Ricky Starks, like, hey, we need a special referee. He kept mentioning special referee. And I'm like, man, who is it going to be? At first, I kind of thought, I was like, man, it would be kind of cool if it was Kenny Omega as the special referee, because we didn't see the Elite on Dynamite this week. So what's going to happen? We shall see. But as Ricky Stark's about to leave, CM Punk turns to Tony Schiavone. He's like, hey, you want to tell him who the special referee is? And the special referee is none other than Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Wow. And I know many people are like, oh, Ricky Steamboat, the WWE Hall of Famer. There's some history between CM Punk and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat back in Ring of Honor. Check it out, YouTube it and everything. there is some history. So again, the scenario is this match another stepping stone to CM Punk turning heel? Is it? Maybe, maybe not. But with his history, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, that is very interesting where that goes and how that plays out. But I am looking forward to next week, Ricky Starks, CM Punk for the AEW, CM Punk's AEW World Champions. I gotta preface that and everything. And again, this adds like, man, Collision has been doing a very good job of emphasizing the main event. Something that AEW Dynamite, in its 4-year history, has kind of been up and down with that. But Collision has been very consistent with emphasizing their main events. And CM Punk, Ricky Starks for the AEW World Champion, or CM Punk's AEW World Championship, special referee Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, they're really emphasizing the importance of these titles. They did it with the AEW Tag Team titles. They're doing it with CM Punk's title. I'm liking what AEW is doing with the champions. Hopefully that includes the AEW Women's Championship, the TBS Championship, the Trios Championship. But I really like how they're doing this. I'm looking forward to Ricky Starks versus CM Punk. That's going to be a really good match. I mean, one of the questions I have right now, even though Ricky Starks is leaning into being a heel, he was teaming with Christian Cage last week against CM Punk and Darby Allin. Again, next week, are we going to get somewhat of a double turn? CM Punk is getting 50-50 boos and cheers. Ricky Starks is getting mostly cheers, even though he's kind of heelish. So it's just really interesting how that dynamic is going to play out. But, man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool seeing Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on Collision Saturdays. Like, man, this is fun that professional wrestling is on Saturdays. In prime time, man. This is fun, and man, Collision's hitting its mark. The next thing I want to talk about, and this is what kicked off the show, and this is one thing that AEW Collision has done a really good job of. The second episode with Jericho, Sting, that whole thing, like, it was cool. It was just one of those weird things. It was right before Forbidden Door, and of course, people were just really anticipating. Okay, how's the second episode gonna go? Forgive me, guys. So yeah, people were just anticipating how this is gonna go. But man, Andrade El Idolo versus Buddy Matthews ladder match. This was a work of art. The physicality that they used the ladders was so, I don't want to say safe, but it was so practical. And they didn't overdo maneuvers on the ladder or with the ladder. It was just well paced and timed that each maneuver that they did in the ladder match increased as we got closer to grabbing, the mask. And that's the one thing that I did like about this match, that granted, most ladder matches are for championships or Money in the Banks, briefcases and everything, or potential contract for challenging the championship. But to start the show off with Andrade Buddy Matthews ladder match, the emphasis is on his mask, and I gotta say, Andrade, Buddy Matthews, Adam Cole. You could say Mercedes and Kiera Hogan. Most of the matches tonight, like most of those matches with those wrestlers, like this is the first time where it feels like those wrestlers have a story that's actually going somewhere, that it doesn't feel like it's going to be here for a couple weeks, then disappear for 3 weeks, then come back for a week, miss, come back for a week, miss, come back for a week, miss, come back for a week. Like, this has been very consistent. And man, this ladder match, you, I recommend you guys watch this ladder match. It was amazing. I gotta say that this was probably one of the best ladder matches in AEW, and since probably Cody and Sammy. Cody Rhodes' last match in AEW. This was real well. The final spot where Julia's on, trying to prevent Andrade from grabbing the mask, because she's, on his back and trying to prevent him, and Buddy Matthews is in front of him, and they're fighting, and it kind of looked like, oh my God, please don't drop Julia. Please do not drop Julia. Please do not drop Julia. And the way Andrade knocked off Buddy Matthews and the way he spun Julia Hart onto the ladder, you can tell he was protecting her. Like, okay, he sat her there, and then uh, he she slapped him, and then he stopped her, and then like it was almost like he just pushed her off, and the way she perfectly landed into Buddy Matthews, and in sequence they went through the table. That was amazing. That whole sequence was just amazing. Andrade gets the mask. I'm really interested to see where this goes now that Buddy Matthews lost. Is Andrade's next feud going to be Brody King? Or actually, no, he fought Brody King. Forgive me. I forgot about that. His next match, Malachi Black could we get Andrade Idolo versus Malachi Black at All In? That's something to think about. I would love that match. I think the last time those guys wrestled was in NXT. But man, having Andrade El Idolo versus Malachi Black at All In, that should be amazing. That should be fun. I look forward to that. And let's see what happens next week with Andrade. And, maybe he's going to feud with Miro, who it's not on my notes, but, he was getting an interview with Tony Schiavone. Aaron Solo attacked him, and then he beat him up and screamed Tony. So I don't know where that Miro stuff is going. Hopefully it goes somewhere, and hopefully it leads to one of those guys getting. I honestly do think that I don't want to say the TNT title, but I do think maybe the TNT title does need to go on more on Collision. It just feels that way. You have Andrade killing it, Buddy Matthews, Miro, like you have those guys there. It does feel like the TNT title should be on Collision because Orange Cassidy's doing a terrific job with the international title, and it does feel like eventually Swerve Strickland might get that title. So it does feel like that is the case. The next thing, and I was shocked that this happened. I did see the first match card. It just had all the matches, but I didn't see Darby Allin. And then I did see the most recent one. I was like, oh wow, they did a recent one with Darby Allin, requesting a match, and it's like, oh, he's gonna request a match. And what I liked that they did during this broadcast, and it's something that Dynamite kind of used to do, they rush it and everything, but I liked that Darby came into the ring, and Ian Riccaboni's like, well, Darby came here to ask for a fight. Let's see who his fight is right after the break. It was like, oh, that is so good. Man, I love. That's one thing that I wish AEW would improve on is front selling. Like front sell, like leave a little mystery and front sell. Cliffhangers, ooh, okay, Darby's here, but who is he wrestling? Wait a minute, he said he came for a fight. Wait a minute, we don't know who is. Oh wait, it's the little things that keep people invested, that makes things so interesting. I love those things. It's those little details that I love. So we come back from commercial break, and music hits. It's Minoru Suzuki from New Japan Pro Wrestling. So we got Suzuki versus Darby Allin. This was a fun match. I know some people don't care too much for the, Suzuki in the middle of the ring. the forearm strikes, back and forth, the chops, blah blah blah. I like that every time Darby Allen, excuse me, every time Darby Allen got hit, he just fell. Like he didn't try to, he fell. And the other thing that I liked about this was every time, like man, Darby, he's so quick, yet at the same time, his quickness, he timed his quickness perfectly in this match, where it didn't feel like he, sometimes if someone's quick, and of course Missouri Suzuki's been wrestling for man 25 plus years, that they kind of like go too fast, where it kind of shows like like it's kind of like not meshing. But man, he did it like it was just perfect spots that he chose to go fast, and it was always maneuvers that were on offense, which is like that's smart. That is really good. Man, the Canadian Destroyer that he almost hit on Suzuki. And the other thing I liked about this was every time Darby attempted to do like a coffin drop or something, man, Suzuki would get him in his sleeper hold. Oh my god, it was man, that was so good. The one coffin drop, Suzuki's on the on the mat and everything, and he sees Darby up on the top turnbuckle, and Darby comes down in the coffin drop, and Suzuki turns his body and just catches him. It was like, oh my god, this is so good. And of course, Darby tried to do a coffin drop, one of many times he tried to do it, and he attempts it. Suzuki has him in a submission hold, and Darby maneuvers himself to where he's in a pinning maneuver, and Darby gets the win. 1, 2, 3. He wins. This was a really cool match, a fun match that really nobody really anticipated. It was a cool way to use Suzuki. Maybe this is leading to something heading to All In. I can't remember if New Japan has another pay-per-view coming up next month. I know they have the G1 going on right now. Maybe not. Forgive me. Comment below if what New Japan pay-per-view is happening pretty soon. But man, that could be something at All In. Maybe not. But man, this was fun. Suzuki after the match, he has a steel chair, blah blah blah. He's gonna try to hit him and everything. The next thing, the TBS Championship. I love this match. Mercedes Martinez versus Kiera Hogan. This was really fun, really good. Like I said, AEW Collision, a complete 180 to what we saw on Dynamite. There was a lot of discourse of the match between Britt Baker and Ty Valkyrie, and a lot of it was just really uncalled for, and it was very rude, ignorant, very belligerent comments that really had no place at all. I'm a strong believer, if you haven't been in a wrestling ring, you really have no business giving such extreme criticism and everything. And it wasn't even criticism; it was just being ignorant and everything. And that match, there were some things that really I noticed. I was just like, it was like, this didn't click. It should have went this way. It's like, it happened. Hopefully, you know, we don't have something like that again. But this match, Mercedes Martinez, Kiera Hogan, this was cool. I'm surprised that it went on for so long. Like I said, this was one of the 3 things that I talked about that happened from 7:55 to 8:30. That it just oh wow, the main event started at 8:35 or something like that. It was like, oh wow, okay, this was a really well paced match. Nice offense by Kiera Hogan. Nice the veteran maneuvers by Mercedes Martinez. Just timing it. Man, the pacing was great in this match. I loved it. Mercedes, she gets the Dragon Sleeper in. Kiera Hogan taps out. Mercedes doesn't let go. Chris Statlander makes the save for Kiera Hogan. Interesting. And as she makes the save, Chris Statlander, she drops the belt. Mercedes Martinez picks it up, and Chris Statlander's in the corner. She's checking on Kiera Hogan. Mercedes Martinez, blast! Uh, Chris Statlander with the TBS championship, and she's about to beat her up. And then Willow Nightingale makes the save, and it's like, okay, Mercedes, before Willow came in, she's like, yeah, I'm coming for this TBS championship. Itch, 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 itch. I'm using that word. I'm not using the B word. And next week, we're getting Mercedes Martinez versus Chris Statlander for the TBS title. I have been seeing some rumblings that certain things are going to take shape and form with the AEW Women's Division. I hope so. I do want to make this announcement in this review. I am working on a video that goes into what improvements AEW should make with the Women's Division. And it's very practical, and I'm surprised no one has mentioned it, so that's why I'm doing it in a video, because I just don't want to tweet it out and somebody make a video or something like that. I'm going to do a video so you guys can, comment on it and see what you guys think about it. But I'm excited. Mercedes Martinez, Chris Statlander for the TBS title next week. And my next topic, and this is the main thing for tonight episode of AEW Collision, FTR, Adam Cole, MJF. This was beautiful. This was beautiful. This felt like an old school tag team match. MJF, Adam Cole have such chemistry. They did tease at the end that MJF was going to turn on Adam Cole. But yet, a very interesting thing at the end, Adam Cole looks at the crowd. He turns and he's like, do what you got to do. It's like, wait a minute. He's anticipating MJF turning on him. So it's like, And of course, there's a lot of things that, a lot of scenarios that people were thinking that were going to, me personally, I was thinking, the match is going to end and MJF and CM Punk is going to have this face off. That's how the show's going to end. It's like, that's going to be nice. Is what it was reported by Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful Select that Richard Holiday, an old running buddy of MJF and MLW, was backstage. Of course, if you guys don't remember, MJF, Richard Holiday, and Alex Hammerstone were the dynasty in MLW. So it was like, man, is Richard Holiday going to come out and help MJF turn on Adam Cole? That whole thing. But man, the FTR double clothesline chant started the match. The back and forth counters, like this was a work of art. It was well paced. And mind you, like I said, this started around 8:35-ish. Maybe I could be wrong, but they had enough time. And that's one thing I like about AEW Collision. These main events, they get time, and I love it. The hot tags were amazing from both FTR and Adam Cole, and just a back and forth. And what I liked about this match was they got the crowd into it. They teased it. They got them involved. They brought them into the match. And I wish a lot more AEW matches did that. Like, hey, get the crowd into the match. And what I mean by into the match is, of course, they're going to be there to see the match, but draw them in. MJF, he's playing up to the crowd liking him, and Adam Cole, he's turned into the crowd, get mannerisms. FTR and Cash, they're getting into the crowd because they're booing them, and they, just bring them into the match, and it makes such great television. One thing that stood out to me about this match was this match felt like an NXT TakeOver tag team match. Those old NXT TakeOver tag team matches from like 2016 to 2019, that sweet spot of NXT black and gold. This was amazing. Also, with this alliance or this pairing, that's a better term, of MJF and Adam Cole, it does feel like we're getting the Adam Cole from NXT that we loved. That when he debuted in AEW, it's like, oh, cool, Adam Cole's here. And it's just like, ever since he debuted, it was just like, we really never got that full Adam Cole personality, wrestler character, like just him. It was just like, okay, Adam Cole's here, and it was always a group, and it never really showcased him fully. This feels like like I said, we're getting Adam Cole from NXT, and this is fun. This is fun to watch. His chemistry with MJF, like they're playing off each other, and I'm sorry, like this pairing of MJF Adam Cole has actually rejuvenated a lot of interest in MJF. There was a time before this feud that a lot of people just felt like his reign started getting predictable and boring. And, the 2024, I'm going to be a free agent. I'm going to walk out of this company and go to WWF and that whole thing. A lot of people were kind of getting like tired of it. And this pairing is actually removed that, and it's just reignited people's interest in MJF and Adam Cole, especially with the skits and everything. And with them having a match like this with FTR, man, this really takes them to another level. It takes their um, pairing feud, whatever this is, up to another level. I do recommend check out the post match promo that MJF gave to FTR and Adam Cole. Really cool, really good stuff. MJF took the pin in this match, which is interesting. He's the world champion. Why should he take the pin? So it's just one of those things like, man, MJF took the pin. He was upset that he lost the match. Adam Cole grabs the belt. He gives it to MJF, and he turns around. He's like, do what you got to do, expecting MJF to hit him. MJF doesn't hit him. He throws the belt on. They hug. What I'm kind of thinking right now, as I'm talking about this and everything, I think we're kind of looking at this wrong. We expect MJF to turn on Adam Cole. And I think it's the opposite that's going to happen. I think we're going to get Adam Cole turn on MJF. And I don't know how I would react to that. I would be interested to see how the fans react, but I do think that's where it's going. That man, it just feels like there's a lot of things that are at play that is we're probably going to see a face MJF and a heel CM Punk and probably a tweener Adam Cole, something like that. But man, this tag team match, I recommend it. This was a fantastic match, man. It's in its own area as far as tag team matches that FTR have had on Collision. I wouldn't compare it to what FTR had with Jay White and Juice Robinson, the 2 out of 3 falls. That was unique on itself. This is just something totally different that's right up there. And man, I loved it. I'm interested to see what's going to happen next for FTR. I do know that they will face Brian Cage and Big Bill for the AEW tag team titles. That was announced, I believe, on Rampage for the tag team battle royal, that the winners would face the winner of FTR and Adam Cole and MJF. So FTR versus Big Bill and Brian Cage. That should be a very intriguing matchup because you have two big, tall, powerful guys, and you got the technical, savvy wrestlers of FTR. That should be very interesting, man. I'm looking forward to that. But man, overall, I enjoyed this episode of AEW Collision. This was fun. I'm looking forward to next week. Ricky Stark, CM Punk with Ricky Steamboat as the guest referee, Mercedes Martinez and Chris Statlander for the TBS Championship. AEW Collision is solid, consistent, and great pacing. It is a fun watch, man. This is a fun show to watch, and I just got to say, I wish AEW had some of these elements on Collision on Dynamite, because, man, this is such an easy watch, and it's so fluid, and things just line up. I love this show. So yeah, that is my take with this. But let's see what happens, man. All In's going to be very, very interesting. So that is my review for the July 29th episode of AEW Collision. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notifications so that you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Threads, and on X, formerly known as Twitter. So with that, folks, let's have some fun with professional wrestling. There's a lot more. I believe we got SummerSlam next week. So there's just a whole bunch of stuff, man. I'm loving it, man. Let's have some fun with this wrestling. With that, folks,